Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing kind of a general review of a whole bunch of makeup products that I've been trying out over the last 5-6 months. Call this an update video, I guess. There's a lot of products that I try out, and if they don't end up making it into a favorites video, if I'm not instantly drawn to them or instantly fall in love with them, I often forget to update you guys on how I'm feeling about those products. Sometimes they end up winning me over, sometimes I feel kind of just meh, they were okay, and then there's a couple things that I end up not liking, but we're gonna go through it all today. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about from high end to low. I've got some Charlotte Tilbury in here, some Thrive, some stuff from Flower, some stuff from ColourPop, Wet n Wild, and some other random things thrown in there as well. Hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys. If you do enjoy it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love it if you would do that. And now let's get right into it. Alright, so we are going to start off with the things that really worked for me, the things that I really liked. As I mentioned before, I'm trying to keep this to things that I didn't really rave about. So most of these products, maybe with the exception of a couple, didn't end up making it into favorites videos, or if they did, it was very recent and maybe I have more updated thoughts on them now. But all of these products I do really like and recommend. Let's start off with this one right here. So I've had this for a while. It is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Foundation. I have mine in the shade Light 50W. I really like this foundation. When I first was using this, while I liked it, something ended up breaking me out around the time that I was trying this out, so I kind of attributed that breakout to this product right here. I've since been gradually adding this back into my foundation rotation, and I'm not having any problems with it anymore, and I really like this foundation. It's nice, solid, medium coverage. It's nice and hydrating, but it's not overly dewy. The shade match actually works really great for me. This is the foundation I am wearing on my skin today, but overall, this has really grown on me. Let's go with something very high-end. I have the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand right here. This took me a little bit to fall in love with, mainly because of the price tag. I am always much more hesitant to get on board with products that are very expensive. And this is a product I feel like there's a bit of a learning curve with. Learning how to apply this in a way that works best for you is something that is going to take a couple of times to get the hang of. I am wearing this on my cheeks today, just as the contour right here. I have a lot of products on my cheeks today, actually. But I also have a little bit here as like a nose contour, which I don't always do with this. And then this is also what I'm wearing up along my hairline to kind of shape my face a little bit. Fantastic product for adding a little bit of contour, especially if you are someone that does not like an ashy contour. This is a contour. I wouldn't call it a bronzer, but it is by no means cool toned or ashy in any way. It's a perfect shade, and I would imagine this would work for so many different skin tones because you can get it nice and dark if you have more medium to deep skin. If you just use a little bit more of a heavy hand, but you definitely can shear this out and get it to work for even those with very fair skin, I would imagine. But it's just so easy to blend and shear out that I've got to imagine that so many people would be able to use this or enjoy this. It's a great product. It is very pricey, and it is one that if I use this every day, I personally would have a hard time repurchasing this regularly, but I've yet to find anything from the drugstore quite like this. If you guys know of something, please be sure to let me know. But I once again have to give it to Charlotte Tilbury. She has a knack for creating really nice formulas, really nice shades, really good products, and this is a great one. Okay, quickly want to talk about two bronzers. I believe I have mentioned both of these in recent favorites videos, but I wanted to mention them both again because I really love both of these so very much. First off, the Flower Beauty Heat Wave Bronzer. This one is in the shade Sunrise L1. I love this shade of bronzer. It is a very, almost a rosy toned bronzer, which I really, really love. This is a good bronzer if you like one product to give your cheeks color and nothing else, like you don't like to layer up a bronzer, then a blush. This is one that I feel like does both of those things. It gives you warmth, but it gives you this nice like color that almost looks like a blush. It's just a really great shade, really great formula. I love this. For those of you that don't like a bronzer that turns a little bit orange or goes too warm, try this one out. It is a fantastic shade of bronzer. Definitely very unique to any other bronzer shade that I have within my collection. Another one I love, I just mentioned this in a favorites video like 2 days ago, is the Thrive Cosmetics bronzer. I'm not going to say much about this one because I did just talk about it. This one is in the shade Rhea. I just love it. I think it's fantastic. This is one of those bronzers that is a perfect shade for my skin tone. It's a perfect formula. It is so easy to blend. No matter what brush I use, this is a bronzer that you can't screw up. And I love bronzers that are just effortless like that. All right, two lip products in the great category that I ended up falling in love with are the Chill Out Lip Glazes from Flower Beauty. These are really good. If you are someone that absolutely hates sticky lip gloss, you will really enjoy these. They give a good amount of shine, but they are not sticky at all. In fact, I'd say they feel more like a lip oil than a lip gloss. Let me wipe off what I have on and add a little bit more. So there it is right there. It's not going to give you a ton of shine. Honestly, if you want a ton of shine, I don't know that there are a lot of products out there that are going to give you incredible shine without just a subtle stickiness factor, but this does give a nice amount of shine. It is so incredibly comfortable. This one is in the shade Dreamy, which is basically clear. You can see a little bit of sparkle in the tube here, but it really doesn't show up on your lips. It's more of just like a clear gloss. Maybe it does have kind of a subtle reflect to it, I guess, if you look closely. I do also want to try on this shade right here, which is the shade Unwind. There it is right there. But again, so comfortable. If you like pinks, if you like just a one and done kind of product, keep in your purse, that's going to be really comfortable. These are really good. I wasn't 100% sure about them when I first got them. I definitely didn't dislike them, but they've grown on me over the last couple of months, and now they're ones that I often throw into my bag. Okay, before we move into the meh category, I do have two more concealers that I want to talk about. These ones are still new to me, but I have been using them for a solid 7 days back and forth, and I feel like I have a pretty good feel for them. So I'm putting them in the good category with the little asterisk that I haven't had these for a very long time, and it is these two concealers right here. First off, the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer. I've been super impressed with this. For some reason, I was thinking this might be a little bit heavy, a little bit cakey, maybe even a little bit drying. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe my previous experiences with Wet n Wild concealers have never been fantastic, so I didn't have the highest of expectations with this thing, but I've been very impressed with it. I think this is a really nice concealer. I have the shade Light Honey, which works really well for me. I do think it brightens up pretty well under my eyes. It holds up really well. It's not overly drying. It has really good coverage. I will say I have noticed, I mean, I've been really inspecting these concealers recently, and this one I have noticed after a couple of hours, it can start to crease a little bit or look a little bit less than stellar on my under eye area. It can start to kind of emphasize my lines under my under eyes, which a lot of concealers do that. There are very few concealers that are forgiving on my under eyes. This one isn't bad, and as long as I'm careful not applying too much, it works on my under eye area, but I have to be a little bit more careful with this one. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But overall, for the price, if you're looking for a good drugstore concealer, and I'm talking extremely affordable, you can find this for under $5, sometimes even under $4 if you get it at Walmart or Target. This one is pretty great. But I do think I like the Tarte Ultra Creamy Concealer a little bit better. Now, if we're talking cost, which is definitely a consideration for me, the performance of this one is slightly better than the Wet n Wild. The price is significantly higher than the Wet n Wild, so that's something to consider. But if you're just looking for a solid, good coverage concealer that's not drying at all, but it's also not overly tacky or greasy or is going to slip and slide around, this is so good. I love the consistency of this concealer. It's a hydrating concealer that's just hydrating enough. I don't know how quite to explain this, but it gives me the hydration that I need, especially on my under eye area, without things going a little bit too far. It's not heavy, it's not cakey, but it's also not creasy or greasy. It has really great coverage. I'm not typically one to jump in and try out every expensive concealer out there, but I am kind of going through this phase lately where I'm really into trying out concealers and finding ones that work well, that have good coverage, but don't make me look older than I am. I'm at that stage in my life where I need a concealer that is going to be very forgiving. I'm almost 40. I can't play games anymore with my concealers. I need one that's going to get the job done. So I'm a little bit more picky, and I'm on a hunt to find the ones that really work for those that have a little bit more mature skin or lines that you're dealing with, and this is a great one that I'm super excited about. I haven't officially put it in a favorites video yet because it's only been about a week and a half since I got this, but so far I have a good feeling about this one. Keep an eye on my April favorites, because if this isn't in there, I would be very surprised. Let's move on to the products that were kind of meh or good. I don't want to say meh. When I say meh, it reminds me of the movie Monty Python and the Knights Who Say Knee. Am I the only one that's getting that? So these are all the products that worked for me. I wasn't necessarily loving them. Maybe there were one or two things about them that kept me from totally falling in love with them. And let's start off with two primers. I have these two primers from Flower Beauty. I really liked these. I kind of wanted to fall in love with them, but you guys will probably know it is rare for me to fall completely in love with a primer. It's just one of those products that I often don't use, and when I do use them, I so often feel like it's just an extra step. I don't really see the benefit that it's giving me. And don't get me wrong, I do love something that gives me a little bit of added hydration, but I often just feel like I can add a little bit more moisturizer if my skin's feeling a little dry. So this one right here is probably my favorite of the two. The Supernova Celestial Priming Whip. This is a really cool product to use. That's one of the reasons I almost put this in the products I loved category, but when it really boils down to it and I'm telling you guys about things that I think it's worth spending your money on, I don't know that I would spend my money on this. If it ran out, I don't know that I would go out and repurchase it. While I liked it, while it was pretty hydrating, I don't know that it was as hydrating as some of the primers that I do really love. And I didn't really notice any sort of smoothing effect or any major benefit to my skin. So for that reason, I had to put it in the okay category. I don't think it's a bad primer. I think it's nice. It's just, again, as with most primers, not something I'm super excited about. And I also feel that way with the Flower Chill Out Skin Serum infused with hemp-derived CBD. I did really like this stuff as well, well, but again, I feel like this maybe I would get more use out of if I used it during my skincare routine. I know that this does have hyaluronic acid inside of it, so I'm considering when I run out of my current hyaluronic acid that I use, which is from The Ordinary, maybe I'll try using this in combination with my skincare routine in the morning and see if I like it a little bit better that way. But using this before my makeup routine, I just don't know that it did my skin any favors or did much for me. So for right now, I have to put it in just the okay category. Let's talk about something that I used very recently. This is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This product, I really liked how this looked on my skin the first time I tried this out in that first impressions video that I did. I gave it a pretty favorable review in that video, but the more I've used this, the more I've really noticed that this is just not a long-lasting foundation at all, which normally is not a problem for me. I don't mind a foundation that's only going to last 5 or 6 hours, but I'm not even sure that this lasts 5 or 6 hours. It might just be because of the nature of the product that it is. It's much more of like a tinted moisturizer, very light coverage, so any fading at all is going to basically take you from light coverage to non-existent coverage, which is kind of what happens with this after a couple of hours. I still am going to try and get some use out of it this summer, maybe if I'm like going to the swimming pool or something. Although who puts foundation on before they go to the swimming pool? Do you guys? I definitely don't. Maybe I should. I know it has good skincare ingredients inside of it. It does have hyaluronic acid and squalane. Feels really nice and hydrating on my skin. It just didn't quite give me enough coverage. And when I'm in the mood for something that's more of like a BB cream or a CC cream, I'll just reach for my Misha BB cream or my It Cosmetics, something that gives me just a little bit more coverage because this just doesn't quite get there for me. Okay, I also want to put in this category the Thrive Cosmetics Buildable Blur CC cream. This one I've been really trying to fall in love with. I'm questioning even talking about it yet because the shade of this really is like the shade of my skin in the summertime. So this I've been using more as a mix-in, or I've been adding just a tiny bit of a foundation that's much lighter than this so I can get the shade match right for me. But even when I add something that gets the shade match on this right, there's still just something about this I don't quite love. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it as much as I like my Misha BB cream. I like my It Cosmetics CC cream illumination a little bit better. I like my e.l.f. Camo CC cream a little bit better. Those all have just a little bit better coverage. This is a solid medium coverage. Those ones I feel like have more of a medium plus coverage. They give me just a little bit more than medium coverage, and I kind of love that about all of those BB or CC creams. They all seem to do that for me. I also think those ones are a little bit more creamy and hydrating on my skin. This is much more of a skin-like finish. It has almost a satiny sort of finish to it, which I don't like quite as much. I'm still playing with it, but I've used it quite a bit so far, so I feel like I should give you guys an update. And right now, I have to just give it kind of a okay. It's okay. Let's talk about a couple of bronzers. I have a contour palette here from Charlotte Tilbury. This pains me to put this in this category. I feel like it deserves to be in the better category, but I didn't want to put both Charlotte Tilbury products, and if I had to pick between these two, this one I don't think is quite as good as the contour one, and it is the Filmstar Bronze and Glow. Honestly, I'm already regretting putting this in here because I do think this is a really great product. If we were just talking about the packaging or even just the formula of the powders inside here, this would fit right in with the products that I absolutely love. But while I like this, I just don't know that it's unique enough of a product or formula for me to justify the higher price tag. Now, I will just say this: if you like something that's very user-friendly, that's very easy to use, if you have light to fair skin, if you like powder products, and if you like really luxurious packaging, you don't mind spending a little bit more for it, I think that you would absolutely love this. I just find I don't often use a powder contour on my cheeks, and it truly is a contour. This is not a bronzer. It gives you just a really subtle shaping effect, and I've mentioned this before, I'm not much of a contourer. I just don't need contouring on my face. I have very sharp features already. I need warmth more than I need contouring, so I typically reach for something that has a little bit of warmth in it, or something that gives me kind of a bronzer. So it shapes my face, but it also gives me warmth. This one is quite cool toned. It's definitely made more for shaping than for warming things up. And I actually think while this one is still a contour, it has the subtlest bit of warmth in it that just works a little bit better for my features, for my skin tone. Also, it's a liquid or cream product, which I really, really love. I don't regret purchasing this. I'm happy to have it. I think for those few times when I really want to go all out on my makeup and really chisel out my nose, which I almost never do, but who knows, maybe that will change with time. But for right now, I had to put this in the okay category just because I haven't been using it as much as I was hoping that I would. And last thing in the okay category, I had to put in the Essence Sun Club Luminous Bronzing Powder. I love the original Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder. This one I do also really, really like. But this one has a bit of a catch to it. I have to be very careful with this because it can turn quite orange on me. I am wearing a little bit of this on my cheeks right here. If you're seeing that warmth like right here, that's coming from this bronzer right here. But if I'm not very light-handed with this, things can get very orange very, very quickly. And I don't love a bronzer that I have to be too careful with. I like something, as I mentioned with the Flower and the Thrive bronzers, that's very, very effortless, that I can't screw up whether I go in heavy-handed or too light-handed. Something that will always come out looking just right. And this one I do have to be careful with. If you do like a really warm bronzer, I would say if you have more warmth in your skin, maybe if you're more medium toned, you might actually love this one. I think I'm gonna like this a lot more in the summer than I do right now. I do really love the luminous quality to this. I think the formula is really, really pretty and nice on the skin. I just wish it wasn't quite so warm, because if that was the case, if the shade of this one was a little bit more like the shade of this one right here, do you see how this one is not quite as like deep and as orangey? I would be in love with this because I do love the formula. The color is just not perfectly right for me. All right, guys, we are into the bad. Let's just get right to it. These are the products that just didn't quite work for me. I only have 3 of them. And it kind of pains me to do this. I always feel bad talking badly about makeup, but I've got to be honest. I've got to let you guys know what doesn't work and why. So let's start off with this right here. Flower Beauty Get Real Foundation, or Serum Foundation. I really had high hopes for this stuff. It's just a little too oily. Even on my very dry skin, this can just get a little bit too greasy. It also doesn't have the best coverage. I cannot use this product on its own. Even on my dry skin, it makes me look like a grease ball. It does not last. It kind of melts off of my face. Even in the wintertime, I was using this in February and just found it to be kind of a mess on my skin. I've tried setting it with powder. I mean, that helped a little bit, but it still was just a little bit too oily for me. I have been trying to mix it into foundations that are a little bit more drying on me, and that's a way that I can get some use out of it. But on its own, I definitely can't recommend this, especially if you have skin similar to mine, if you like similar things to me. And I'm sad to say that because I really love Flower Beauty. I love their Light Illusion foundation. It's one of my very, very favorites, and I was hoping that I would love this even more, but I just don't. It just didn't quite work for me. A little bit too oily for my skin. Also in the bad category, I had to put in the Bambi Eye Mascara. Now this is the waterproof version. Have not tried out the regular version. If you saw that video where I tried out some drugstore makeup, I accidentally bought the waterproof when I was intending to buy just the regular. So keep that in mind as I talk about this. There are a couple things I don't like about this. I don't know that I love what it does for my lashes. I am wearing it on my lashes today. Now, I don't think they look bad, but they don't look great, and I had to work really hard to get them just to this level. I do think that working with waterproof mascaras can be very tricky. It's hard to layer up a waterproof mascara, but this one with just one layer gives you very minimal effect to your lashes. Now, if you like something that's just barely going to coat your lashes, kind of give you that is she wearing mascara kind of look, like her lashes are a little bit darker, but it doesn't look obvious that she's got like lashes. Maybe you would enjoy this, but because it's waterproof, it does harden and dry pretty quickly, so it makes it very difficult to build up layers on your lashes. Also, it is very, very hard to remove at night, which a year ago I would have been raving about, but now that I have discovered my Thrive Cosmetics mascara, I just don't like the way really intense waterproof mascaras feel on my lashes. I mean, they feel hard, they feel heavy, they make my eyes feel crusty. You can just feel your lashes, and I just don't like that sharp feeling when I open and close my eyes throughout the day. So yeah, I'm a little bit soured on the waterproof version of the Bambi Eye Mascara. I'm not sure that I'm even dying to jump in and try out the original. A couple of you have said I totally should. Some of you really loved it. We'll see with time. Maybe when I get through a couple more mascaras, I'll try it out. But for right now, this one is a definite pass. And last thing on my no good list is the Wet n Wild Brow Sessive Brow Gel. I was really hoping to like this because it's so affordable. This is just not a great clear brow gel. It is one of those ones that kind of has like a milky sort of formula. The ColourPop one does this as well, but the ColourPop one, as I comb it through my brows, it really does disappear into my brows. It gives them really nice hold, but it's also not very stiff. It doesn't get flaky or dry throughout the day. This one I can see in my brows. That white cast doesn't completely disappear, and even if I go in with a clean spoolie to kind of brush it out, I do find that throughout the day it makes my brows really crispy, which I don't really like, and it also can kind of start to flake in my brows a little bit, so I'll start to see little white like flakes in my brows, which is definitely a no, not interested in that. So I'm kind of bummed about it. Fortunately, I didn't spend a lot of money on this. I think it's only $3 or $4, but yeah, if you see this in your drugstore or on Ulta's website, just take it from me. There are better clear brow gels out there. I think I like the e.l.f. one even better than this one, even though that one I don't think holds all day long. It doesn't make my brows too crispy and it wears pretty well. The ColourPop one I think is the best clear brow gel out there though, at least as far as the ones I have tried, but the Wet n Wild one, I'm sorry, gotta give you a pass. Alright you guys, I think that is everything. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Again, these are just all the products that I feel like might have slipped through the cracks. So if there's anything else you guys can think of that maybe I talked about once and I forgot about even for this video, let me know down below. I'll be sure to dig it back out and let you know what I think the next time I do one of these videos. But for now, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, let me remind you one more time to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to my channel. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that you guys are doing well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. I'm still getting over self-tanning incident from this winter. I got a little bit addicted to self-tanner. Something about self-tanner makes you feel a little bit better in the dead of winter. Looking down at your bronzy ankles, pretending like it's not freezing outside and you're locked in your house for 3 months or 365 days. And by the way, if you're wondering what's on my eyes, if you saw my Nabla video and you were a little disappointed in my very neutral look, I went with the color today. I'm basically wearing these 3 shades right here. And oh, how lovely they are.